Hey guys, welcome to the line change. Once again, the Vancouver Canucks crap the bed and suffer yet another loss, this time to the Seattle Kraken, the final score of 6-3. Before we break down this game, we're just going to go over the line combinations for this game as they were shuffled around a little bit once again. First line was Dakota Joshua, EP40, and Brock Besser. Second line was O'Connor, Heedle, and Garland. Third line was Höglander, Suter, and DeBrusk. And then fourth line was Baines, Bluger, and Sherwood. Defensive pairings were Hughes and Hronek, Marcus Pettersson and Tyler Myers, Derek Forbort, and Carson Soucy. And then, of course, Kevin Lankinen was in net. Scratch tonight was DPD, which is a little odd for me, as I'll admit that I wasn't expecting DPD to be scratched here tonight. Soucy was put into the lineup in place of DPD, and I guess that's a bit of a questionable call there on Rick Tocchet's part, wanting to have Soucy in the lineup instead of Junior, considering how well Junior has played over the last few weeks. Niels Amon was also scratched, as well as Victor Mancini. I think I saw a tweet from Jeff Patterson basically saying, if you're just going to scratch Mancini, send him down to the AHL. Let the guy get some, games in instead of just having him, in the press box. So I full on agree with JPat on that. So yeah, anyway, getting into the game. So the first period, there was some good zone time right off the start for the Canucks, which was a positive. Burakovsky opened the scoring at 5 minutes and 47 seconds of the first period. His 6th of the season, assisted by Wright. Canucks ended up getting a power play, and they looked really good on the power play. They only got one shot on the power play, but the power play looked good, unlike the last game where they just couldn't get the puck. This one, they had the puck for a good majority of the power play. And then Pius Suter scores his 16th of the season at 11 minutes, 35 seconds, unassisted. So Suter now is at a career high in goals with 16. So big ups to Suter for that. Lapidol scores his 13th of the season at 16 minutes, 27 seconds, assisted by Myers and Marcus Pettersson. So Marcus Pettersson gets his first point as a Vancouver Canuck here tonight. So that's great to see. Pettersson getting on the board finally after being here for, I guess, almost a month now. The Canucks go on a power play, their second power play of the period, and Elias Pettersson has a chance to shoot the puck, and he doesn't. He doesn't shoot the puck. I'll admit, watching this, I absolutely yelled at the television, and yeah, I yelled at the TV. I don't know why Pettersson did not just rip it. Like, he was in the slot. He looked like he was thinking about shooting, and then he decided against it. PD, shoot the fucking puck. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So, and then that's the end of the first period. The shots ended up being 15-6 in favor of the Canucks. Moving on to the second period, Oliver Bjorkstrand scored his 16th of the season at 4 minutes and 11 seconds, assisted by Montour and Wright. So Wright has 2 points here tonight. So nice to see him, racking up the points. I know he struggled for, at least a few years ago. So it's good to see him actually producing for the Kraken, as he's a very, very skilled player. First round pick as well. Carson Soucy with a very dangerous pass in front of Lankinen, like in front of the net. That's a big no-no. Like, you learn that in like back when you're playing hockey as like a kid, like not juniors, but like Adam and stuff like that. You do not pass the puck in front of your net. It's also common sense too. The Canucks penalty kill 20 out of 21 for the Canucks recently. That's fantastic. Tonight, they did not allow a power play goal, so that's great. The penalty kill is working for the Canucks. It's essentially the only positive thing for the team right now. Dakota Joshua scores at 8 minutes and 5 seconds, shorthanded, assisted by Drew O'Connor, and this was a beautiful goal. Joshua showing off them hands, showing that he's more than just a big guy who can hit, who can fight. The guy has hands too. He showed that in this goal, and it was a beautiful goal. And I'm really happy for Joshua considering the season that he's had. I mean, he started off the season on the injured list as he had testicular cancer. So he missed the beginning of the season and came back a few months into the season. And the last few games, Joshua's played very well. He looks like the Joshua of old. So this is a big positive for the Canucks, him scoring here. This is also the third shorthanded goal of the season for the Canucks. Matty Beniers scores his 14th of the season at 12 minutes and 8 seconds, assisted by Dunn. Anyway, Lankinen so far had allowed four goals on 13 shots, so he wasn't really playing his best. Some he didn't really have a chance on. And then a minute later, like literally a minute later, Really Tolvanen scores his 17th of the season at 13 minutes and 8 seconds, assisted by Evans and Stevenson. So yeah, 2 goals in a minute against the Canucks. That's not good at all. And then that does it for the second period. Shots were 10-6 in favor of Seattle in the second period. Shots were 21-16 after 2 periods in favor of the Canucks. I also made a note that Dakota Joshua has had a great game thus far. More on him a little bit later. Third period, there was a tripping penalty on EP40. I thought it was a little soft, but it is what it is. And then Montour scores his 11th of the season at 5 minutes and 38 seconds, so literally right after the penalty expired, assisted by McCann and Eberle. I also wanted to make note that Quinn Hughes barely played in this third period. Also, on that note, back in, I believe it was the second period, Hughes briefly went to the dressing room after the Bjorks, but he later returned, and then it appears as though he kind of aggravated his oblique injury. As I mentioned, he was barely on the ice in the third period. He was at the end of the bench. He did not play the last half of the third period, so that is very concerning. But luckily for the Canucks, they don't play again till Wednesday, so hopefully Hughes can get some rest. Tolvanen scores his 18th of the season at 18 minutes and 29 seconds, unassisted. It was an empty net goal. And then there's your final. Seattle Kraken wins 6-3. Canucks with 10 shots in the third period, and the Kraken with 7. The final shots were 31-24 in favor of the Canucks. So it was nice to see the Canucks hit, the 30 shot mark for the first time in a while. Other notes for tonight: the Flames lost. They were shut out by Florida. So this is now back-to-back games that they have been shut out. So the Flames do not gain any points. Neither do the Canucks. The St. Louis Blues won here tonight. And matter of fact, the St. Louis Blues have won 4 in a row. They are now only 1 point behind the Canucks. Utah lost against New Jersey. The Ducks lost against Chicago. So you could say that there's a little bit of luck for the Canucks here tonight, despite the loss, as they are still, as of tonight, above the playoff bar. Quinn Hughes was a -3 tonight, and he had 56 of ice time. On this road trip, Canucks were 1-4 on this 5-game road trip. In the season series, the Kraken are 2-1 against the Canucks. And now first we're going to look at the wild card standings after tonight. Right now, the Colorado Avalanche are the first wild card team with 72 points. The Vancouver Canucks are the second wild card team with 65 points. And then just below that, the Calgary Flames are just behind the Canucks with 64 points, tied with the Blues, who also have 64 points. And then you have the Utah Hockey Club, who have 63 points, and the Anaheim Ducks with 59 points. All right, moving forward, we're going to go over our player of the game. So tonight's player of the game, of course, as I mentioned in our previous video, when we introduced the player of the game, this is a Vancouver Canucks podcast. So our player of the game is none other than Dakota Joshua. I know he wasn't spectacular tonight, but he had a goal, and the goal was beautiful. He was a -1. He had 3 shots on net. He had 3 hits, a block, and 16 minutes of ice time. I'm going to give it to Joshua just because he really stood out for me tonight in this game. And of course, once again, mentioning the season that he's had. I took that into consideration. That and no one else really stood out for me. Let me know if someone stood out for you guys in the comment section down below. But I think I just felt as though Dakota Joshua was one of our best players tonight. And, it was tough to decide. It was between Joshua, O'Connor, or Hedel. I went with Joshua. So, but yeah, that's tonight's line change player of the game. And so the Canucks lose again. The Canucks don't play again until Wednesday. So they have tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. They're probably going to have tomorrow off. It'll be a team day off at the end of a road trip. And then they'll probably have a practice on Monday, maybe a morning skate on Tuesday. And then, yeah, so as of tonight, the Canucks are still in a playoff spot. But now you have to wonder what's going on with Quinn. Hopefully we'll have more on Quinn from Rick Tocchet after the game. As of right now, I haven't seen his post-game comments yet. So hopefully Quinn isn't too hurt, or he hasn't re-aggravated that oblique injury, and the next few days off will help him. We're going to have a few more videos coming tomorrow. I have a few topics that I'm going to go over. And yes, Elias Pettersson is probably going to be one of them, especially after watching the game tonight. I'm fed up with him. So that'll be a bit of a doozy. I do have some other videos coming out tomorrow. One in particular. I have them written down. So I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek at what's coming down the pipeline for this channel. One of the videos I'm going to go over is we're going to analyze the Canucks' prospect pool. So I feel as though that's going to be a real good video. Another one is the future of the Canucks blue line. I know I mentioned that we were going to talk about Victor Mancini. That is the video that we're going to talk about him. And we're going to go over the future of Canucks' blue line. And obviously that's going to involve Quinn Hughes on whether or not he stays with the Canucks. A lot of people are saying on social media, he's going to walk at the end of his contract. So we're going to go over the future of the Canucks' blue line. Speaking of Quinn Hughes, we're also going to put out a video called the Quinn Hughes era, and we're going to look back at when he was drafted, and as well as what's ahead for Quinn Hughes and this hockey team. Another video, I mentioned Pettersson. I'm going to ask you guys the question: what should the Canucks do with EP40? I did make a comment in regards to Pettersson. I do think that they should at least, at the very least, look into maybe shutting Pettersson down. Maybe not for the rest of the season, but maybe at least a week. Shut him down. Let him rest. Let him get his mind right. But there's no harm in doing it. It's not like Pettersson's producing or being a difference maker right now. So it's not like it's going to hurt you. Sure, it's going to piss off Petey, but maybe this is what needs to be done to, send him a message. Or if you're not going to shut him down, bench him. Rick Tocchet had no problem benching JT Miller. Bench Pete, send a message to Elias Pettersson that enough is enough. So we're going to go over that video. I also have a fun video that I thought of today. We're going to basically put on our future caps as well as our future glasses. And we're going to talk about what this team could look like 5 years from now. And in 5 years, for all we know, we could be looking at either A, Connor Bedard being a Vancouver Canuck, and or Macklin Celebrini being a Vancouver Canuck. We can dream, can't we? But that's going to do it for tonight's episode. As always, if you like this video, leave a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel, smash that subscribe button. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.